Hey, this is Bob. Welcome to my hole. So this week, we're mostly just getting prepped for concrete. We're going to be working on my excavator, getting that back up and running. We're doing pads for the garage, basement, and a concrete staircase leading out of the basement, leveling out the backfill underneath the concrete pads so we can be in place for our insulation, vapor barrier, and then concrete on top of that. So it's really just a lot of shovel work, hard work, getting it done. It takes a long time and it's kind of miserable, but that's what most of our week is looking at like.
So to actually get Dirt Dog fixed, what we had to replace was a couple of hydraulic lines. There was one line heading to his thumb that had worn itself open or factor of time. It was so crispy that it was sort of, the lining was falling apart in our hands as we were working with it. Another was a major line running up to his arm. So when we were running the arm and running the thumb in particular, he would leak hydraulic oil, dumping it into his guts, which would then make its way out of the body and pour out onto the ground. To get that diagnosed, we had to kind of work our way through the absolute mess of spaghetti hydraulic lines that make up his inner workings and find the line that was cut. As we ran him and as he was working, basically as the machine vibrated as the engine was running, it was rubbing one of the hydraulic lines on a somewhat sharp edge down in his body, and that acted like a saw and effectively cut through a hydraulic line. After we found the lines that were bad, I pulled them out and we brought them to a local shop here that makes high pressure lines, got them replaced, and got them reinstalled that day. You can see me here kind of completing an initial putting back together of Dirt Dog, at least without a complete reassembly of his skin. I'm doing this so I can get him running again and see if that leak starts back up, or if we're in a place where we're pretty confident where the leak has been resolved. I'm reattaching the fuel lines here. Afterwards, I come and I grab the battery, get that installed without bolting anything down, just in case we have to take it back off. At which point, I then go and get the excavator started up to check if it's leaking.
I did not want to do that again.
Thankfully, it was not leaking anymore, and we got the pleasure of putting him fully back together. But now he's all working good and with less issues than before, and we're back to work.
I'm just checking to make sure nothing is like seeping out or doing anything it's not supposed to do. We had to remove a lot of lines. But everything looks good.
The process to get him back together probably took 3 or 4 hours. It's better than taking him apart, but still, I'm not a mechanic.
So today we finished fixing up Dirt Dog. He's working great now, and we're using him to gather a mixture of clay and broken hardpan. We're bringing it back to backfill the hole to get everything level for our insulation and then concrete next week.
Yeah, so this week we got to play hole digging simulator in real life. I think you can play up to 4 in that game, but we were only doing it with 2. I have to say it is probably a lot more fun on the computer. It is just a whole hell of a lot of work to do this with a shovel. I'm also certain there are better ways to do this. We considered getting a conveyor belt, getting some other equipment to pick up and spread the material in a more efficient way, but when we were looking for rentals, when we were looking for other equipment that we could use, they were just not available to us, or we'd have to drive over an hour to pick something up and then an hour back to drop it off. So we just kind of sucked it up and got it done by hand. I don't really ever want to do this again, but I'm glad to have it done, and I'm glad to have done it at least one time, but really never again. I'll pay somebody for this next time. Initial dig for the basement, and we're putting it back underneath the basement slab, or what will be the basement slab. So we're backfilling with this material. We're moving it into the hole with Dirt Dog, spreading it around by hand with the cart, with the shovel, and getting everything approximately even. We figured that we could save a lot of effort on our part if we just dumped material straight into the cart. The cart's name, by the way, is Harambe. This way we didn't have to shovel material up into the cart by hand and then move it a second time and dump it and then shovel it around and spread it. I think this saved us a lot of time and effort, particularly the effort we would have used digging up material that we had just dumped with Dirt Dog back up into the cart. This process took us 2 or 3 days. Thankfully, the weather was good. It was relatively cool. It wasn't too bad doing all the shoveling at this time of the year. Here you can see we're approaching the final height here, the final grade, after we dumped these carts out, spread it out by hand with shovels and rakes. We came back with a plate compactor, which, by the way, if you have hypermobility in your joints, probably find somebody else to run your plate compactor for you. I would not recommend it. This process of compaction was pretty quick. It maybe took us 1.5, 2 hours to do. We had a 4-hour rental and we had plenty of time left over. We ran it both in the basement as well as the garage here. And I also, because I had so much extra time, I ran it on the areas in front of the garage and leading out to where we can bring vehicles in, just to get the ground a little bit harder, make it easier for the concrete guys moving things around, getting their vehicles in close, and for myself when we're bringing materials to and from the hole.
All right, so this week we finished backfilling and compacting the basement and garage under our slab. Before that, we finished repairing Dirt Dog, our excavator, so that we can actually accomplish that task. And we basically just spent the week moving earth and shoveling and compacting it down. It was somewhat miserable, but it had to be done, and now we're at the point where we're able to move on to the next step of the process, which is concrete. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being involved. I'll see you guys next week.